Young campers sing as they evacuate after powerful and deadly floods hit parts of Texas over the weekend. Good evening and thanks for joining us. I'm Devin Bartolotta.
And I'm Cherise Gibson. Tonight, 104 people have lost their lives. That includes nearly 30 children as a massive search continues for many others still missing.
We're checking in with crews around the areas that were hit the hardest. We begin tonight with Nidia Cavazos in Kerrville.
Cherise and Devin, search and rescue operations are still underway in Kerrville, Texas. Local officials tell CBS News that this will continue to be a very difficult week for Texas as the death toll continues to rise. This time-lapse video shows how quickly a river in Kingston, Texas rose in just a few minutes on Friday. Search and rescue teams say they're finding bodies up in trees, including at least one of the girls from Camp Mystic.
We found two young girls up near the Hunt store. And then about 10 o'clock, we found another little girl wrapped up in debris in a tree.
More than 24 campers and counselors from Camp Mystic died in the flooding. It's just one of many children's summer camps along the Guadalupe River, where mountains of debris, including mangled cars, now sit.
From Hunt all the way to Comal County in a straight line distance is over 100 kilometers. This is a massive field that is happening. And again, this is unprecedented flood events.
Flash flood and evacuation alerts from the National Weather Service went out in the middle of the night when most people were asleep.
We had first responders that were getting swept away, actually responding to the first areas of rainfall. That's how quick it happened.
More than 800 high water rescues have happened since the flooding began.
It was scary.
As floodwaters destroyed Scott Walden's house, he and his wife had no other choice but to go outside.
I grabbed my wife and we literally jumped in the water and it swept us down to about 200 feet down that way. And there's a crepe myrtle tree that we grabbed hold of and we waited for rescue.
The risk of life-threatening flooding is still high in central Texas, with more rain on the way. Rescuers tell CBS News that they're working around the clock. Time is very critical here, but they're working under the assumption that every person who has been unaccounted for is still alive. I'm Nidia Cavazos with WWL Louisiana.
Amid the tragedy, there have been stories of survival. More than 800 people have been rescued, like this woman who was washed nearly 20 miles downriver before she was able to grab onto a tree.
And tonight we're hearing more about those terrifying moments from others who managed to survive. Rania Carr spoke to a man in Hood, Texas, who stood on a thin electrical box for hours as floodwaters rose.
Christian Fell is 6 feet tall. This is where he stood for 3 hours. He tells me at the peak, the water was to his knees.
Start to get up, and as I swing my feet over the side of the bed, I realized I was standing in water.
With water rushing in from the Guadalupe River, Christian Fell found himself scrambling to survive on Friday morning.
I was trying to climb onto that piece of furniture right there, but I couldn't climb onto it because it just kept tumbling and rotating under the water, so I couldn't make it onto the air mattress. So then I realized the window was broken, so I swam through the window, and I was standing on that meter box right there for the next 3 hours.
Balancing on his tiptoes, alone, his family staying at another spot down the road.
I was just standing on the top of it. I was holding on with my arm inside one of the slats in the roof for a couple hours, like 3 hours.
Help just a short distance away as he could see flashing police lights.
I noticed I could finally climb down whenever there was a police officer walking through the street right here with his flashlight. So I just hopped down, and that was the end of it.
For his mom, Andi, reuniting with her son.
How do you feel when you finally got the call that he's okay?
There's no words.
As for Christian,
I'm just happy to be here. Just excited to go home, go back to work, I guess. I don't really know.
Reporting from Hunt, I'm Rania Kaur.
In your breakdown, as we watch the aftermath of the devastating and deadly floods in Texas, the best way anyone can help from afar is with financial donations. First, the American Red Cross of Louisiana is helping with burial expenses and mental health resources, especially since this disaster involved so many children. You'll find their donation link online, as well as one for the United Cajun Navy. Right now, they're sending in special ops volunteers, airboats, and canines to help with recovery efforts. A little more local to Texas, the Community Foundation of Texas Hill Country has also started a flood relief fund, which is focused on rescue, relief, and recovery. The Kerrville Chamber of Commerce has started a fund as well. This one focused on businesses affected and rebuilding efforts. Kerrville Pets Alive is collecting donations to help with pets that were rescued and on-site veterinary care. And if you'd like to donate to individuals, GoFundMe is keeping a list of verified fundraisers for those affected. Wherever you choose to donate, make sure it is legitimate and be aware that donation scams pop up anytime there is a natural disaster. You'll find verified links to all of these fundraisers on our website, WWLTV.com.
Meanwhile, there are some questions about emergency alerts issued that day, with many saying they didn't get a warning or didn't understand the severity. Data shows Thursday, July 3rd, the National Weather Service issued several flood watches for counties in central Texas. But these were not emergency alerts. So Kerr County, where the worst flooding occurred, they got their first text alert at 1:14 a.m. Then at 3:35 a.m., another message added campers should avoid streams and creeks. At 4:03 a.m., a message was sent saying, quote, seek higher ground now. And at that same time, a flash flood emergency was issued as that river began to surge more than 30 feet. So as officials in Texas look at these problems or improvements with the alert system, Chris, we want to focus on the best way that we can all stay informed in these situations, because it's not just about relying on those type of text, right?
No, a part of it is almost personal responsibility of having an app where you can look at real-time radar, see where storms are, even have the ability to find out river data in more real time. And that's why so many of us are always emphasizing having one of our weather apps, such as the WWL app, because it will notify you just like the Weather Service, but we tend to do things a little bit more in real time when things are coming into our newsroom, and we're relaying that back to the public. So we're trying to get that information out as fast as humanly possible, and sometimes you just can't get it out that fast, but having a way to actually see radar yourself, know exactly where you are with relation to storms, and it just does give you a better idea of the severity of your particular area.